Mark, and did eat the showbread. Matthew says, and did eat the showbread. Luke, I remember it was a little bit different, and did take and eat the showbread. Okay, so and did is from all three. And did. Now from Luke only, take and, back to all three, eat the showbread. I think this is one of the word changes from the King James Version. I want to check that because I remember they write it shoe with an E. Matthew 12. Yep. Shewbread. Mark 2. Shewbread. Luke 6. Have ye not read so much as this, what David did when himself was an hungered? Oh, look at that. That's another change. Instead of was an hungered, it was hungry. So, a little bit of changes, but it's just a word at a time. They don't change the sentence structure. And they which were with him, and they which were with him, how he went into the house of God, and did take and eat the shew bread. I never liked that. That's one of the reasons why I can't say you have to only read the King James. Because no one says it. No one writes it like that. S-H-E-W? No. Showbread. After that, there's a comma in Luke. Mark, showbread, comma. Matthew, showbread, comma. Okay. Matthew continues, which was not lawful for him to eat. Mark, which is not lawful to eat but for the priests. Which is not lawful. Which was not lawful. Which is not lawful. Well, it's talking about what he did back then, even though they still have the showbread now. Well, they have it now, which you say it's not lawful, because it was still around at the time that Jesus was preaching. At least I believe it was. I know the Romans messed up a bunch of stuff. What does Luke say? And gave also to them that were with him. That's definitely got to come first. And then it says, which it is not lawful to eat. Okay, so I'll go with is not, because that's in Mark and Luke. But definitely have to go with this first sentence from Luke, because that's not in the others. It's more descriptive to say, and gave also to them that were with him. And then I could say, which is not lawful to eat but for the priests only. Oh wait, it says that in Mark. And gave also to them which were with him. And gave, yeah, that's the, and gave also them. So that same sentence, it's there in Mark, it's just a little bit later. But in Matthew, it ends, neither for them which were with him. I think I like the order that it's in Matthew. It says, and did eat the showbread, which was not lawful for him to eat, neither for them which were with him, but only for the priests. So it's saying he ate the showbread, but he wasn't supposed to. They ate the showbread also, but it wasn't right for them either. It was only for the priests. That should come absolute last. It was only for the priests. Saying he ate, but it was wrong. They ate. They were also wrong, but only for the priests. So should I say, and gave to them also, which was not lawful for him to eat, neither for them? That's how it should be, yeah, and gave to them also. I should have, and gave also to them that were with him. That should come first, just before, which was not lawful for him to eat. Actually, that's exactly like it is in Luke, but then I'm going to continue on with those extra mentions in Matthew. Neither for them which are with him, but for the priests only. So it'll be exactly how it is in Luke, and I'll end after which is not lawful to eat. And I'm not going to have yet where it says, but for the priests only. I'll put that at the very end after these words from Matthew. Okay, so showbread, I have to say and gave, but and gave also to them which are with him. Yeah, that phrase is just not in Matthew, but it is in Mark and Luke. But how to actually phrase it. In Mark, and gave also to them. Luke, and gave also to them that were with him, which were with him. I'll just write the first part. And gave also to them. Okay, which were with him, or that were with him. And gave also to them, and gave also to them which were with him, that were with him. And gave also to them, which were with him, and gave also to them that were with him. I think it's more modern to say them that were with him. And gave also to them. I'm kind of debating between going with the way it's commonly read, the way people talk nowadays, or back then, in possibly a more rich version of English. To say them which were with him, that's older, that's more traditional, that's probably better English. So I'll go with that. If that's better, it's not too hard to understand. It is clear what's being said. Also gave to them which were with him. Yeah, I'll go with that. Which were with him. That's Mark. Maybe this is just a translational issue. It might be the same word that they translate one way and another. That and which. I really want to go with whatever Luke says, because there have been few times when I chose Mark over Luke. Whenever I had options between Mark and Luke in the earlier paragraphs, I've almost always gone with Luke. And I want to do that again. I like the way Luke speaks and writes. Perhaps I'm biased. Yeah, I guess I am. I like Luke. I've liked Luke for a very long time, since I was a little kid. I remember reading in one Bible, I forget which one it was, that the Gospel of Luke records the most miracles that Jesus did. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, well then Luke is my favorite. I just don't care about the rest. I do. I like Matthew, but now because I want to see things in a chronological order, I'm starting to like the Gospel of Luke more. It's upsetting me how much Matthew just throws everything in there out of order. It's like he's just trying to mention all the cool stuff that Jesus did, except he doesn't even mention all the miracles. Luke mentions more. I think the Gospel of Luke might be my favorite. But when I'm done, this project's going to be my favorite because it's got all of it. We're with him. That's both. Wait a minute. The question mark comes at the end, but this phrase is at the end in Mark, and there's some stuff that comes before which doesn't come before in Luke, which is the order that I'm going. So I'm not putting the question mark there yet. I'll put the semicolon like in Luke. And actually, is that in Mark as well? No, there is no semicolon in Mark. Nope. So it's just Luke. So how was I going to do it? I was going to say it as it was in Matthew. Which was not lawful for them to eat. Which is not lawful to eat. Which is not lawful to eat. But I'm also going to say neither for them. So instead of just saying which is not lawful to eat, I'm going to say which is not lawful for him to eat, neither for them which are with him. So which is not lawful? Which is not lawful? Which is not lawful? That's all three. Which is not lawful? For him is from Matthew only. And then to eat is from all three. Back to Gray. To eat. Mark. To eat. But for the priests. But only for the priests. That comes later. To eat. But for the priests alone. But only for the priests. Or for the priests. That comes later. So next whole phrase is only in Matthew. Neither for them which were with him. Also, comma, for Matthew only. Now, the last phrase. But only for the priests. Mark. But for the priests. That's very short. Luke. But for the priests alone. I can't say but only for the priests alone. That would be redundant. Neither for them which were alone. I'm not going to say only for the priests alone. Both only and alone are only used once. Only in Matthew, alone in Luke. But for the priests alone. Mark. But for the priests. But only for the priests. I think it would be more emphasis to have alone at the end, because that's the final word of this sentence. You can put emphasis on any word you want. You could say, but only for the priests. Or you could say, but for the priests alone, because it doesn't matter where it's placed. Not lawful for him to eat, but only for the priests. Not lawful for him to eat, but for the priests alone. It works either way. Which means I have to choose between two things I agree with. I'm not doing both. I'm not saying, but only for the priests alone. I'm not doing that. No. I think I'm just going to go with alone, but for the priests alone. Yeah. These words are all three, even though I'm skipping only from Matthew, but for the priests, and then Luke only alone. That would actually make it easier for the addressing, because I don't have to have two groups of gray. I can only have one and then a yellow. That's why these addresses are getting so long, is because I am going word by word. And the more I break up groups that are from multiple gospels, the more words I have to type.